talking about the features of a particular new Decodable series, Decodable Readers, and I'm excited to share it with you. And there are features here that we might use as Reading Simplified teachers, and we might not expect quite the same. But I want to emphasize as we talk about this series of books, and as I talk about other series of books in the future, I want to emphasize the value of what goes on in the instructional setting is mostly about what's going on in the teacher's mind. It's our job to adjust the text that we have to match up with the student's needs, right? That's what's really magical about the teacher that's really in tune with what her group of students needs. So while it's important to talk about features of text, a text is not good or bad in and of itself in general. Mostly it's about how we use them. For instance, I saw a Facebook post recently. Someone was showing one page of a decodable text. It was short vowels, but it also had some harder high frequency words in it and maybe some more advanced letter sounds. And everyone was kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, this is not right. Turns out this text, although it was short vowels, was for second grade. It was for review. So a lot of those features in that text were relevant. And so it was relevant because it was for a second grader at the beginning of the year who was reviewing things that had come in kindergarten and first grade. So it's not, although yes, we're going to think about the features of the text, we're also going to need to think about how we are choosing the text to match what students need. And this streamlined instruction is not just good for the teacher so she doesn't get overwhelmed, it also saves the child a lot of time and accelerates their reading. We see kids who are beginning or struggling readers learn to read a heck of a lot more quickly than mainstream approaches. And part of that is the secret of knowing a set of activities that are really high-powered and also knowing how to adjust your instruction to meet the student's needs. So this discussion of when and where to use this series of books is super relevant. And we're going to give you a free link to, a free digital download from this book series. So I'm excited to share that with you. And if you're a Reading Simplified Academy member, you're going to get a discount code that will be coming in an email. So members, if you like these books, don't buy them yet. Wait for that email code, which is coming to you soon. This is just for Reading Simplified Academy members. So let me share with you this new series of books and a whole reading program, really, and it's called Whole Phonics. Isn't that clever? Do you get it? We don't have to bicker about whole language versus phonics. They're both strains of the teaching reading have some amazing features, and we can throw away the bad but embrace the good in both. So Whole Phonics is wisely doing that. And they are creating beginning reading series and workbooks. You can see they're super colorful, and I'm going to share with you some of the features of these books. I'm going to break down what's in this program and how you might find it useful. And yeah, my share, it was new to me. I was so excited to get a series of these. So let me tell you what they say about Whole Phonics. Whole Phonics is a structured literacy program created by a veteran reading specialist for beginning readers. Whole Phonics books are colorful, a bit silly, and just plain fun to read. Young readers join the delightful adventures of multicultural characters and their animal friends to learn critical phonics skills. And these books are carefully, sequentially organized with a structured literacy framework. And so that overview is on most pages in these books. So that's helpful. And I find that what they said is fairly accurate. That is accurate. So let me give you an example. Here is level 1. Level 1 includes 15 books of short vowel 3-sound words. I'm going to dive into the first one in a minute. So you can see there's 3 books with short A, 3 with short I, O-U-N-E. Zooming in a little bit, here is short A. We've got Zach's pal, Zach's cap. I'm going to go over Zach's pal, and on Dad's lap. So let's take that first line there, the short A. There's 3 different books to reinforce that letter sound and some other letter sounds. And so that's what these are: Zach's pal, Zach's cap, and on Dad's lap. And so let's dive into the first one, Zach's pal. Now, first of all, notice that this is colorful, and it is, I think it's aesthetically pleasing, and there's not a lot of busyness. It's pretty easy to read. Zach's pal. I think that a lot of kids would like this. Don't you think, just visually? So far, so good. Also, on the inside cover of every book is a nice little overview for the teacher. You can see that the sounds that are targeted are the short A is boxed, and some of the other letter sounds that are in there, like C, D, F, H. The high frequency words are also targeted, is on the no and A. You can see a summary, special vocabulary like pal, and then some comprehension questions. Then let's dive into what the child is going to see. Zach is sad. Zach has no pal. So what makes this pretty good? I like that the picture is very bright. The animal has a really very clear expression on his face that helps understand the text. The text itself is large, easy to read, and there's lots of white space around it. That's super important for many beginning readers because they can be easily overwhelmed by a lot of busyness or print that's small. It's actually a visual accomplishment for us to be able to read very quickly across the page, small print, and it doesn't come naturally. So starting out small like this, rather large, is the way to go. What do you think? La Profesora, no, these are not created by Reading Simplified. This is another organization called Whole Phonics. We're glad to share some of their resources because we think they look pretty cool, and we've gotten some books to review. So I wanted to share with you what they're good with, and also just to think about the books that you have. Do you have some of these features? So you see here, second page and third page, a fat cat is on a mat. The fat cat has a nap. So again, we see plenty of white space. The text is very distinct from the pictures. The pictures are inviting. Can you see the frog in the background on the left side? He's saying a pal. He's trying to come visit the cat. You see the short A repeated a lot, but it's not repeated in a rhyme unit like at, fat cat sat. There's a variety. We'll have the app in nap unit. Or rhyme, and so we're not focusing on trying to rhyme, we're focusing on learning how to read the phonemes left to right. Here's the next page. Zach fans the fat cat. The fat cat has a nap. So Zach's expression is very demonstrative. It's clear he's sad. He's not getting through to this cat. We see some repetition of some of these words, like has, and certainly fat cat is repeated. I like that repetition of the fat cat because it eases the burden of attacking all these unknown words, and yet it's not in a pattern that makes it so easy to predict without paying attention to the print, right? And we keep going with the text. Zach taps the fat cat. He's really trying to get the attention. The fat cat can nap. Nothing's happening. And Zach sat on the fat cat. Now he's reading on top of the cat. He's just about to give up. And then it says the fat cat naps. Zach has no pal. So again, we see different ways that the A is popping up in a word, not just the at type of word. And we see not too much text and a great alignment of the text with the pictures because the text is pretty simple, right? But the pictures help make it a little more fun. And here, this picture is quite vivid. He has an idea. Zach pats the fat cat, and that seems to be the trick because now the fat cat is Zach's pal. So it's a fairly short book, 12 pages, probably about 10 to 12 sentences total. This is something that a beginning reader can tackle, especially if there's a lot of teacher or parental support. And that is a great example of all the text. You'll see very similar features with all their other book sets. These are colorful. There are lots of decodable features of these sets, and so that's indicative, I should say, of the whole series, and that was level 1. So we're going to look into level 2 as well soon. When you get done with the book, maybe you are going to ask the student some of these questions, like, what did Zach want? Does everybody remember? Did you pay attention? I was reading aloud. How did Zach get the fat cat to be his friend? It's pretty simple. Just kind of patted him, woke him up from his nap. Not a very irritable cat. And what can you do to be a good friend? So it's got a little comprehension, getting the gist, and then also maybe that extension of how to take something more meaningful and personal. I really like to make sure that we ask a comprehension question where the student does the summary. So sometimes we're going to ask the quick question like, what did Zach want? But I think it's even better to ask a higher level task. Tell me what happened in this book. And we often forget to do that type of thing, don't we, reading teachers? We're working hard at getting our kids to decode, recognize words, put everything together, and by the time we're done, we might be tired. We might forget the comprehension questions. So it's nice that they put them here, but also keep in mind the general rule that I recommend for Reading Simplified is just to ask the child to do the work of summarization, because that is the hard work that we have to do as our foundational activity before we can do higher level reading skills. We have to take the ideas that we read in someone else's words and put them into our own concepts and our own words, and that's what summarization does. So a lot of reading research has indicated that summarizing is the most important and powerful comprehension strategy and skill. So keep that one coming. And these are not boring. They're certainly not great literature in the fact that you're not going to learn great literary things, and you're probably not going to learn great content, but that's not the point of when we're just trying to get our kids to access print. This is about how to rapidly get them to access print. We can do the great literary things and learning content knowledge through our read alouds and other activities. Exactly, Greta. I love that these aren't just the word families. The readers will have to look at all the letters and not just rhyme. So important. Some kids can't rhyme, and so sometimes those rhyming texts aren't an issue for them. But for those kids that can rhyme, it does take away from their decoding skills when they're playing the rhyming game instead of looking at print. So one of the features that's sadly fairly remarkable is that the children and the parents and adults featured in these books are not all white. A lot of early reading books are mostly just Caucasian characters, and they very deliberately set out to have at least more ethnic diversity. So this is wonderful. You can see Anne here, and this is a little bit more about her further in. And not only are we seeing a non-white character, but she's also a thread throughout. So these characters keep popping up in other books, not in every book, but that's nice. That helps the children affiliate with the stories, and the words, their names, become less of a burden. Here's another example where you see more ethnic diversity. Beth, Chan, and Thad are good at chess. So that's one thing that I like about these books. And again, you see the colorful illustrations. They're attractive. Kids are going to want to read these books, don't you think? So we talked about level 1. Remember, that was 15 books, 3 sounds, short vowels. They get progressively harder in terms of more and more print on the pages by the time you get down to like short E. And Jen's Web, there is like the last one. I'll show you an example. There's a lot of text on that page. The hens are hot, so Jen wants the hens to get wet. But the hens do not want Jen's web to get wet. I can fix it, says Mel. So you notice it's all 3 sound words. There's a focus on the short E, but there is a lot of text here on this page. Now this doesn't fit perfectly with the sequence of Reading Simplified, because if our kids can already read that many words, then we'd probably have them into long vowels right now, just because of the way our sequence is just laid out. We'll talk about that later. but it's pretty easy to just adjust. If this is too hard for where your children are at this point, read some of the text to them. So this again is back to my point at the top of the show. The book is certainly important, and we want to match the book to the reader, but a key ingredient in that bridging of the book to the reader is the teacher and how she adjusts. So I would probably be reading half of this or 3/4 of this to my student and let the student do the rest. Now let's get back to the second level. So the second level is what they have created now. They're going to be creating more levels soon, but the second level is the consonant digraphs. CK, there's 3 books with that. Right there you can see that. A Sick Rock, Get the Sock, and In the Den. And these are cumulative, so all the short vowels would be popping up by the time you get to the CK level. And then they have double Z, LL, double S, double F, TH, CH, WH, and SH. So almost 15 books in this other set. Exactly. Stormy says that she likes it that they do not just repeat the sentence with one word replaced. They're really going to have to pay attention to the print. Yeah. Glad you're here, Rhonda. And exactly. Yay for diversity. Exactly. So many of us are teaching children who are not white, and it's just tragic when our books don't line up. But even if we're not, we just need to reflect the real world, don't we? So whether our children are all white or all black or whatever, we should reflect the real world with our literature or books. Okay, so if you were to read that first book in level 2 about the sock, this would be what you'd see. Again, notice there's a lot more print on the page, but there's still a good amount of white space around the words, and I just like the font. I think it's a good font. Don't you? It seems just easy to read. Mac yells, I want my sock. Jack said, Dad will be mad. We have to get your sock. Let's go get Meg and Nick. So we have the CK pattern, but it's after an O, it's after an E, it's after an I, it's after an A. So there's not going to have that rhyming thing going on. And the high frequency words have been built up to this point. So said and have and we and to and get have all been exposed to the child systematically. So that's very clever. And again, you would see at the beginning of the book what are the features of this book. The CK is the emphasis, but it's going to include all consonants. There are all the sight words. Is the, no, a, and, have, love, so, to, my. There's 3 lines of high frequency words. This is not just a set of decodable readers. Whole Phonics is also adding workbooks, and these workbooks nicely align with the text themselves. So one of the texts is I can help Fox, and at the end of the book this is the picture that you see, and so the numbers there are supposed to be prompting the child to organize the story in order. What happened first, second, third, and fourth. Again, it's very colorful, it's attractive, lots of white space, easy to read. I like it. It also includes games. So for the book Get the Sock, which we saw a little while ago, there could be this practice of tic-tac-toe with a repetition of the CK. And there's a tic-tac-toe board. There are also some teacher activities that align really well with Reading Simplified. For instance, here for the short A, Zach's Cap, one of the first 3 books at the level 1 short A, you would do dictation. Maybe you could dictate sounds. A, b, d, g. You could dictate words, has, sad, on. Dictate sentences. The cap is not on the mat. And then there's the chaining activity, which is very similar to our switch it activity. Sad, mad, map, cap, can. And then there's some fun questions. Which 2 words can you wear? Would it be hat, cap, sad, dad, or bag? And that's nice. And then they have some phonemic awareness activities. Again, they're aligned with the book. So it's really clever when we have an alignment with the word study that we're doing with the text that we're reading, because we can see the transfer more readily if we give the children the opportunity to practice it, right? A lot of mainstream programs will do some phonics, like teach the short A, and then they give a book to read that has very few patterns with the short A. And so that's just not getting reinforced in that environment. But there's this alignment, natural alignment here between the activities that are suggested to the teacher and the book. So for the book, A Pig and His Wig, which is a freebie that you're going to be able to get, This would be the phonemic awareness exercises. Now, these are oral, like the segmentation prompt would be. The word is kid. Now, children, let me hear you say the word. Now, what are the sounds in kid? K, I, D. That's right. Then there's a blending prompt. Listen to the sounds in w, I, n. What's the word? And then there's an isolation prompt. Okay, the word is fix. What is the first sound in fix? So those words, those spellings, they align with the book, and it's also phonemic awareness, which is super important. We think we save more time in phonemic awareness by linking with print with our really popular activities like Switch It or Read It, but these are also really good to see because so many phonics programs have not really integrated well phonemic awareness lately. I am really excited about these cute little books, and I think that they will serve many of you if you want to look into this further. And so she's got for you a freebie. So if you want to go to whole-phonics.com, whole-phonics.com, and head over here to this sidebar, you can snag a free decodable reader. Let's see if I can find them. There's a pig in his wig. Oh, there we go. So this is what you'll get if you head over to their site. And so you can sample these for yourself, at least the digital version. There's the bright, colorful, let me get myself out of the way. There we go. A pig and his wig. There's the overview. There is the text. Max is a kid, Liz is a kid. Tim is a pig. Tim is Liz and Max's pig. And this is the funny part. Tim loves his wig, and everyone says, no, you can't have a wig. So that's an issue. And so the workbook also goes along with it. As I've mentioned before, you're going to have the same images and the same types of words there that they're going to match up. They're going to, do a little finishing of a word building, again, with the same kinds of images, the same names like Max and Liz. They're going to draw the wigs if they want to. And here are those high frequency words that are targeted in this book. Loves, a, and the, and so that's filling those in the blank. And here's a shoot some letters game with those same words from the book. And more tic-tac-toe. These are with the high frequency words. So, and then here's some directions for the teacher. So it's good stuff, right? Yeah, Candace says these look great. Here we go. That is the website. So if you go to the sidebar on their site, you will see the opportunity to snag some freebies. This little free download thing on the right. Now, for many of you, if you're a Reading Simplified follower, some of these would need some adjustment, and let me explain why. It's not that big a deal because, as I've said, we're going to be there, the nuance teacher. We're not just, giving everybody this book because it's Monday and everybody's supposed to read that book on Monday. But remember, with Reading Simplified, we have a streamlined approach to getting into the code. And so after this streamlined pathway here for kindergarten, it's like our scope and sequence. In about 3 weeks, or maybe 6 weeks or 9 weeks, usually probably 6 to 9 weeks, our beginners, I should say 3 to 6 weeks, our beginners would be done with the short vowel level. And then we'd be moving them into step 5, which would be the long O. The O as in go, the O in note, the O in home, the O in boat, show, and toe. So we're pushing them pretty rapidly to learn advanced phonics because advanced phonics is really what makes up most of the high frequency words. If you look at the top 300 Fry words, which is about 65% of written language, there are very few 4 and 5 sound words like stop and felt and stomp and so forth. On the other hand, there are lots of words that have high frequency phonics, like the double E, the EA, the OW. The ER is very common in like number and mother and father. So if our kids are rapidly getting to read more and more phonics in a shorter amount of time than mainstream approaches, then looking at a lot of phonics or a lot of text on one page may be premature for them. So if we're at the short vowel level, we may not give kids long passages like this, because we're only in that level pretty quickly, and then we move into step 5, step 6, and so forth, the advanced phonics. So if you're not a Reading Simplified person, this may not make a lot of sense, but I just wanted to make sure that I was conveying how we would probably make some adjustments with these books as they get higher up in the level. There's just a lot of text on the page. We would probably read some of that to our students if we were using them, because we're getting them out of short vowels so quickly that they haven't had enough exposure to reading to be able to read all of those smoothly. So let me show you an example of a pre-kindergartner who is tackling a text that most people would say is way beyond her ability. She is using learning letter sounds like the short E. She doesn't even know it. She doesn't know the double L. She's learning how to blend. Everything is really new to her because this is only her second or third reading lesson ever. She's had letter sound in isolation in preschool, but she hasn't had reading instruction. So this text that I'm going to read with her is super challenging, but in the context of this super challenging environment, she's starting to absorb stuff really rapidly. So in a week or two, maybe 2 or 3, she would already be on to long vowels, but you see, it's only been 2 or 3 weeks, so it's a lot to ask her to read something this long. That's kind of where we're coming from with Reading Simplified, but we just adjust. When we have texts that have a lot of print on them, we'll just read them parts of them to the kids. So let me show you this example of this little video of this girl. You can see how hard and challenging it is, but the teacher's doing a lot of scaffolding. So the scaffolding in a one-on-one or small group setting allows the child to do something that's impossible really for them on their own, but in the context of reading, coupled with the word work activities we did to get to this spot, the child grows really rapidly, and so then they move into advanced phonics and they start to learn more of the code more efficiently. Okay, so this is a little pre-K kid in like her second reading lesson ever. Yeah, and then hold it. 10. Uh-huh. 10. Men. 10 men. I'll help you with this one. It's like you're smiling. When. Uh-huh. When. That's right. 10 men went up. Uh-huh. It could be. A lot of times we just say a or up. 10 men went up a hill. They went up a hill. So 10 of them went up a hill. There they waited very... How did they wait? They waited very... Good, and put them together and hold it. You had to hold this sound. Still. Still. There they waited, very still. So they went up on the hill, and then they waited. And then let's see, who's this? This is a guy's name. And like an egg. Seth. Seth. That's a guy's name. Seth. And Seth and Zach. Put those together. Put those. Good. Seth and Zach had their. Put them together. Uh-huh.
Seth and Zach had their fill.
So did you see that was super challenging, but she was still fine with it because she was getting support and she had a lot of grit. And so she would pretty quickly be into advanced phonics. So to give her, one page that has like 20, 30 words, and then another page that has 20, 30 words, and another, that would be a lot. So no big deal. The teacher is there, whether in small group or in the one-on-one setting. If you are looking at a page like this one, ideally you would just buddy read. So I might say, well, I'm going to read the first sentence and you read the second one. Mac yells, "I want my sock. Your turn." Or if it's all too hard for the child and they're getting frustrated, then maybe they'll just read one word. Okay, Mac yells, "I want my," and then that child reads. So the teacher there adjusts based on the student's abilities, frustrations, whether it's a good day or not, but they still can be exposed to reading words with that CK spelling. And so that's why this set of books is really great, because it's systematically going through the phonics information that we need to give kids really quickly early on. Would you like future complimentary trainings like this here at Reading Simplified? Then make sure you ring the bell here at YouTube to become a subscriber so that you learn more of our ways of streamlining instruction and accelerating students' reading achievement. And you can also find us on Facebook at Reading Simplified, usually on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live with other complimentary trainings and we give away some freebies for teachers and parents. So I hope to see you here again next time on YouTube or even on Facebook. Take care.